Okay, let me review the steps of what I'm talking about to conclude. If we understand the nature of attachment, the first thing that has to happen when there's a discovery of a pornography problem in a relationship is for both partners to learn how to reach out instead of reaching in. They've got to learn to reach out to real people and have a real connection so that they can activate that attachment system that is based on, I feel better when I'm connected to others. That's just how it works. That's how we're wired. There's not a special subgroup of people out there who don't need other people. We're all wired that way. Reach out to God, reach out to 12-step, reach out to clergy, reach out to therapists, groups, family, people that can help and be there for you, people who understand and can offer that co-regulation so that your body and your emotions and your stability is balanced out. That is the first step. We have to reach out instead of reaching in. Nobody can do this alone. The next step is to slow down. Couples have got to slow down. The relationship oftentimes is suspended. It's held. Maybe there's not any decisions that can be made about it right now. Maybe they're not sure even how to be a couple right now. So they can slow down and not feel pressured or urgent to make any major decisions about where to go with the relationship. Learn how to reach out and use that bridge of connecting to other people to start maybe throwing little lines, especially for him to throw lines to her. Both of them have to connect to their individual recovery process. Husbands and men who struggle in with pornography and sexual addiction, their number one commitment, besides their own individual recovery process, as it relates to their wife and their partner, is about providing safety and learning how to start providing these rescue breaths. And that comes from him being open and honest, among all the other ways we talked about just a minute ago, all the things he can do to help regulate that system. For partners, for women, here are some things that you can do perhaps to activate that attachment system in your own life. We talked about reaching out to other people, but what about in your relationship? What can you do to influence that process or access that more for your benefit as well? If you've got a husband or a partner who's very committed to this recovery process, it would be really important for you to slow down and maybe see if you can notice ways that he's trying to be there for you. They may be small ways. They may be hard to detect sometimes. They might be large gestures. They may be small efforts. Look for ways that he's trying to be there for you. See how that affects you just to notice that. Imagine what it would feel like if he wasn't there for you in these ways. And so understand that and allow that to affect you. It doesn't mean that you need to rush into his arms and commit to everything or even be physically or emotionally intimate with him in any way. It just means that perhaps there can be a little bit of a breath there, and there might be something that would help. Another way that you can harness this power is for you to open up with your feelings and perhaps share and connect with him about what your experience is. Just like this woman did in my office, where she sent this text. While it was pretty hard for her to send and for him to hear, it was a moment where she reached out to him and let her know her inner world. That's intimacy, right? Some people have said that you can break down intimacy to be into me, see. So if we start to thread this intimacy, it's about letting someone see what's inside of you. And she can do that. And it may come out in the form of, you really hurt me, and I'm suffering pretty badly, and this is awful. But for her to give that to him instead of just to everybody else, in my mind, suggests that somehow she believes that him caring about that could do something for them. And so that's what this attachment's about. Women bring their pain to their husbands because they believe that he can do something about it by caring about it. And as he cares about it, it does help. And those are some of the early threads of repairing the damage caused by betrayal. You can also notice, and this is for both people, notice the way that facing each other helps the relationship. Maybe it soothes it a little bit. Notice what happens if you just maybe take a walk together. What happens if you're maybe just around each other a little more? What happens when you're apart? How does that feel? Notice how that connection affects the way you feel. And you can experiment with that. Pornography and sexual addiction are really about attachment dysregulation. It's about emotional mismanagement. It's about not knowing how to be safely connected to somebody. The healing of addiction is a healing of relationships. People have relationships with their addictions. And as they leave those addictions, they have to form intimate bonds. And marriage is the ultimate bond. Even though it gets damaged and destroyed by betrayal, it still has some of these embers in it. It still has the potential to help both people heal and do better individual recovery work. It's delicate. We have to honor the fact that there was a trauma and a betrayal, and that he has to take the lead and do a lot of the work up front of reaching out, taking more risks, being a little more vulnerable perhaps. But every woman I've spoken to, she feels just as vulnerable staying in the relationship as he might feel reaching out to her. And so this is hard work for both people. And as hard as it is, it does work. Robert Caren said, "In love, you don't need to be rich, smart, or talented. You just have to be there." And I share these thoughts with you